This.
Welcome to For Collectors.
Hey everybody, welcome to the For Collectors channel. I'm Jason, the Everyday Card Collector, and we're here with Aaron, Value Vintage Cards.
Good evening, sir.
And good evening to you, my friend. And our special guest, who we were going to put behind the stage, but that didn't work out too well, so he's with us now. It's Matt from Matt's channel is The Card Story.
Hey, good evening, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for being here, my friend. I appreciate it. We are recording this episode on the For Collectors channel, which was fantastic. Theo and Sammy reached out to me and asked if we wanted to do an episode, and instantly I knew what I wanted to do. So those of you who don't know, Aaron and I do it's not a weekly or a bi-weekly, it's when we have the time to do it. We do a show called the Mount Rushmore Show, and I figured that would be perfect for this channel right now. So Aaron and I got together, we picked a topic, and the perfect guest is Matt for this topic. And the topic is the 4 best Braves players of all time. So I don't know if you want to explain, Aaron, just the show briefly. You're much better at it than me, so I figured I'll let you rattle off the show. So what we're doing.
Sure. I don't know about better, but I'll take a swing at it. So yeah, Mount Rushmore. Basically, I feel like that's always a fun topic to discuss. Who goes on the Mount Rushmore? Could be by position, by city, by any kind of theme, and by team always seems to make sense. That's always a good debate and a good topic to talk about. So getting someone that's an expert on a particular topic is always fun and exciting. So Matt for the Atlanta Braves, or maybe just more generally the Braves, would be a more than appropriate expert. So we'll pick our top 4. We'll see where our lists match up, and we'll include some honorable mentions, because there's always those few that you want to, you wish you had 5 or 6 on the Mount Rushmore, but you don't. So we'll keep it to 4, but we'll chat a little bit more. So
perfect. You're way better at that than me. So I guess we'll let Matt as the guest. We'll let it kick off. So you get to pick 4 players. They don't have to be in order, Matt. You can take whatever order you want, and then we'll go with honorable mentions once your 4 are done. And if you happen to mention someone that is one of our honorable mentions in your top 4, we might show those cards as well, just as a heads up. But go ahead, pick your first player.
All right, I'll pick. I'm going to go in reverse order for me, but we can go anywhere on it, like you said, right? So happy to be on here. I'm going to go with a gentleman that was actually not originally with the Braves. He got traded to the Braves in the early 90s. Greg Maddux. Here is his first card with them in 1993. So he only pitched for the Braves for 11 years. Traded from the Cubs, obviously. But if you look at those 11 years, his WAR was like 66. Pretty incredible. And obviously had pretty good career with the Cubs before that. He won his first Cy Young before he got traded, then went on to win 3 more. So he won 4 straight from 92, 95, I think, 4 in a row. That's pretty freaking tremendous, if you ask me. So I think it was worthy, even though obviously out of the starting pitchers, I mean, he has one of the highest WARs. He has the second most wins post like the dead ball, or post in the live ball area, I guess I would call it, right? So behind maybe someone else we'll talk about later on tonight. So don't want to get too much away, but I pulled a couple other cards I thought would be interesting to show, but I think he's on there. There was obviously some tough choices for we'll go to some of the honorable mentions later, but this is obviously tough to get just 4, right? And obviously I'm picking more players that I mostly collect post-war, right? So I don't have the knowledge of some of the folks that played before that. So I'm picking folks mainly that played from the 40s and on. So I picked some cards that aren't vintage but have a vintage feel. So this one is from 2004 Topps Heritage. Looks like the 55 Topps.
That's cool.
So it has the same back as the 55 Topps too, and obviously still has the Braves uniform on. I tried to pick mostly. I think I picked all Braves uniforms. Then I got a couple more. I really like this set. A lot of people don't really give a lot of respect to the 51 first issue of Topps, but they did a really nice homage in 2003 to the 51 Topps. So there's the blue back version, 2 of these. So there's the blue one, and then I got the red one as well. The difference is just the different picture, then also the different backs. So
sure,
I don't know. I just like the kind of the vintage feel of some of these cards. So have those, and then trying to keep under the limit here. This one's got got a couple shiny ones to show if Filipino man's watching. This is the I like this one because he's bunting. I don't know. I always like when the pitchers. I miss I know a lot of people like the DH, but for me, it's I kind of miss when the senior circuit had the pitchers go up to hit. So if they got on base, they got to wear his little starter jacket in the 80s and 90s. I kind of miss that. So that's the 2000 Topps Chrome Refractor.
Oh, that'll make Scott Reindeer Studio proud. A bunting card. He loves
a bunting card, right? And plenty of glare. And then this one's the 1998 International Refractor from Bowman Chrome, which I think a lot of us like the Bowman Chrome. Anyone that collects the modern stuff, so shiny card, I guess. A little bit on that one, and I guess I had one more I forgot about. Might have gone over the limit, though. That's okay.
No limit. Keep going.
So this is from '97. I want to get like one numbered card. I know a lot of the modern folks really like these numbered issues. This one's numbered 150 on the back, but Circa made a couple products. Actually, weren't that expensive, but like to actually get the player you wanted, these had it was a large checklist. And these were actually only like one per box or whatever, right? So to get the player you wanted was pretty tough to get. So there's obviously a lot of the 90s cards had pictures on front and back, which I thought was pretty cool too. So wanted to include something a little different with that last card there. So, but I realized he may not be on y'all's list. So this is where the fun will begin, I guess, right?
No, that's perfect. That's absolutely perfect. And I don't know, and I'm going to plug another channel here because we always like to promote everybody in the community. I was at a show this weekend, the Chicago Sports Spectacular, and I got to meet Alan. And Alan's channel is collecting Maddux. So I don't know if you guys follow Alan.
I do.
Yeah. And so he's I didn't know how local he was. Him and I live very close to each other. So we got to meet and talk a little bit, and he was on the hunt for probably a lot of what you were just showing there, I'm sure. So that's very cool.
Yeah, he has a great channel. I almost brought out that Select Certified that has the he calls it the ghost image. I bought it because he said it's like the ugliest card ever. I had to go get one to have one because he commented as like the 10 worst Maddux cards or 10 of those Maddux cards. I think I went about 3 or 4 of them just to have fun with it. So
that's
really
fantastic. Good channel. That's awesome. So where do you sit, Aaron? Does Maddux hit your top 4?
You know what's crazy is I would not have had him on, and I'm honestly surprised Matt had him on.
I love it, actually. I love it.
At the end, I ended up putting him on.
You did?
Okay. I did. So I have a strong suspicion. I think our honorable mentions might be different, but I kind of the same obsession. If I'm going to get a Maddux, it's going to be something of him in a Braves uniform where it looks like it's a throwback card. You got the 59 tops-ish kind of issue. You got some of these like relics and different things. So I always like those when you get some, little piece of the jersey. I know some people get a little, bent out of shape because they're cutting up somebody's jersey. But yeah, I picked him. I actually had a couple. I wanted to get a couple that were more, high end kind of Maddux things, but of course he's a Cub back then. So
yeah, I didn't show those. Yeah, I have a couple of those. Yeah, those are both great. The 86, then the Venezuelan you got there. Sticker,
yeah,
right?
The Venezuelan sticker from 87, and the minor league card from 86. Obviously Cubs era, but yeah, same thing. What's fun with the Mount Rushmore is, there's other players that are in Braves franchise that had a higher WAR, at least with the Braves, not necessarily career, because Maddux's is pretty phenomenal. But it depends how you want to define that Mount Rushmore. But yeah, it's 11 years. He was in the top 5 for Cy Young 7 of the 11 years. And he has 18 Gold Gloves in his career and stuff. So I mean, he's off the charts, amazing. So
yeah, I did the same thing when I looked at just his Braves piece. And if you compare his 11 years to Koufax's 12 years, other than strikeouts, he leads them. I think shutouts, so we're close, like 35 or 40 each. But like, considering played in like the steroid era for half of that time,
right?
I mean, that just tremendous stats for Maddux in 11 years, honestly.
Yeah.
Well, I feel kind of bad because I didn't put him on my Mount Rushmore.
No,
I will say this though, he was an honorable mention, and the first one I'll show is the only one I brought with him in the Cubs card. So mass produced era. I did grab some of my stuff. This is all the stuff that's tucked away, and as you guys know, if you don't know, I'm in the process of trying to get a card room going, so my stuff is all over the house right now, so it's extra messy. But obviously, definitely makes an honorable mention. Now that I'm thinking about it, based on who's on my 4, maybe he should have been my 4th, because my 4th might be a little different than you guys. Then I'm guessing my 4th didn't make the list, or your list. So all right, so we got Maddux. So you each have one from your list. Maddux being the guy. Aaron, why don't you shoot us with one?
All right. Well, I guess we'll cross one off that I think we're all going to match up on. And Jason has mentioned we may have had somebody on a different episode already of our Mount Rushmore list, but we'll go ahead and cross them off. Actually, I did send a text with Matt, and I told him I had this thing. So this is my modified. What is this? This is a W603. Yeah. So I matched it up to ones I have. Basically, it should have had a border and should have some writing down below. So somebody chopped it up, but it's still super cool, and it's basically about as rookie as you get. So I don't know how you'd have a list of all-time Braves without having Spahn. I showed this one going back and forth with Mangini.
That's cool.
Super cool piece. Yeah, double auto, actual autos with a little certification on the back. So yeah, Spahn is one of those people that I actually collect a little bit tougher. So I'll show a couple good ones, and we'll let Matt blow us away here with some stuff here. But
yeah, I'm gonna go next because I'll be quick, and then Matt can take the floor on that if he was on his list.
Tip Top and Drake's I'll throw in there to get a couple of the rare ones crossed off the list. But yeah, we'll let Matt show some fun stuff and see if Jason has Mr. Warren Spahn on the list as well.
Yeah, well, I can tell you. So I'll go next because I'll be real quick. Warren Spahn is on my list, obviously. We did an episode of left-handed pitchers, and he was on that list as well. I was embarrassed then and embarrassed to say now I have one item of Warren Spahn. So I need to rectify that, but not in the near future because I'm looking at a lot of other stuff. But it's my 1964 Aurora Vision, which everybody knows me for, right? That I'm going to have. Beautiful image, beautiful piece. Not much to say. I mean, we all know he's 100 WAR, right? And he's 100 WAR, over 100 WAR, over 300 wins, yada yada. There are several guys on this list. You can whip out stats if you so choose to. Him and one or two others, to me, you don't even need to do that. So you can simply say yes, he's one of the greatest left-hand pitchers of all time, in my opinion, of course. But that's it for me on Warren. He does hit my list, so that's the first guy on my list. And did he hit your list, Matt?
He made my list. Yeah. Does it matter? Do we have to reveal our order? It doesn't really matter. I don't know if it matters.
No, it doesn't matter. There's no order.
Okay.
You just
yeah. I think just more so when we match.
If we match,
it's a match. It's a match for me. So
yeah.
So Aaron showed a couple that I really enjoy as well. I'm fortunate to have, but this one is a little bit. I'm not sure if you have this one here. The 59 Oklahoma Today.
No.
Came in a magazine. It was like the top right corner. Mantle's on that. The Wayner brothers are on there. There's people that are either born or live in Oklahoma.
I've seen them. Yeah, is Feller's one too, right? Is Feller one?
I don't know. I've seen like the whole magazine, but they want a couple thousand for those.
Okay.
The Lake to Lake is a fun issue that I think a lot of people enjoy. So this was the dairy issue, and then a lot of these. This one must have been like either a backdoor copy or this one isn't punched or anything. This one I tried to limit a number. This is the first. I believe this will be the first Spick and Span issue. 53 to 55 depends on when it's issued. I think there's a couple other years that kind of overlap. There's a bigger one that I didn't pull out. I don't think. This one's pretty tough. This is the Dixie Lid from 53.
Yep.
Two versions of this. There's a Boston and a Milwaukee Braves. They both have the Boston hat, but they just have the name changed to Milwaukee in the bottom for the other one. Don't have the Milwaukee one yet. It's high on my list of things I'm looking for. If you know anyone that has one, let me know.
And Matt, correct me if I'm wrong. A lot of different backs on those. I have the Minoso 53.
Yeah, it's kind of like
different backs. It's like a T26 almost.
So we have the collecting Maddux, and then there's a collecting Nolan channel. He did a pretty cool show where he did about the 76 discs and how they're kind of like the tobacco cartel of different backs. You're right. Like this one's Holland. I think I have both of mine. I actually have two copies of this, but I think they're both the same. One's strawberry, one's chocolate, I think, but in terms of flavor, but same dairy. But yeah, there's several dairies. This one's pretty tough. I'm still looking for the Aaron and Matthews in this, but the 62 Pittsburgh exhibit playing card. That was actually my first Spahn card. I bought this last August.
Really?
First for Spahn,
and now you're 200 deep.
A couple hundred deep. Yeah, they're all $3 though, right? This is the 57 Spick and Span. When they won the World Series, they won his only Cy Young Award that year. Let's see.
Which is brutally unfair because they didn't start the Cy Young until like 55, right?
Right.
Yeah, he had some really good years where he led the league of strikeouts 4 years in a row, but it was like earlier in his career, right?
Yeah.
This one, I think we might have been a request to see if I pull any of these out. This is the die cut from 55. Spick and Spans up.
I love that.
Away.
Yeah.
Love that one. Trying to limit. Let's see here.
That was on request from me, folks, because I love that.
There's one Aaron had. So I actually like the way Aaron's cut. Actually, is nicer. Just so you know, like honestly, that's kind of weird down here. Like I think it actually looks more like a card. Yours looks like just like the 602, which is the mini version. Doesn't have that little box on there. So it actually looks. That's probably why they cut it. Honestly, if I had to guess. And then I think I'll wrap up just one more. I just got this. I had no idea how nice these Bowman colors were. Sorry for the glare. Oh my gosh, this is so nice. These cards are like super nice.
Yes, it's one of my favorite sets.
So now I know why Alex. I mean, again, obviously, I watch just like you mentioned earlier. We watch these almost every week, but like, I don't know. I slept on those way too long, so
yeah,
I think we'll stop with that. I mean, there's a bunch more, right? But we'll stop there.
No, that's a beautiful card. There are so many beautiful cards in that set. One of my favorite, probably my first or second favorite, Mickey Mantle. I love the 53 Bowman. I think they're just beautiful.
The Minoso is really nice. There's just
Minoso is very nice. Yep.
Campanella. There's a bunch of really nice cards in that issue.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The Musial, that was one, and that set's weird because I am such like I love my A's and 1s and 1.5s, but I had like a 2 Musial or 1.5 or something like that, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, I feel like it just doesn't do what I want it to do. And I saw a 5 in an auction that, was not perfectly centered, but it was a crisp 5 and very vibrant colors and everything else. And when I got that, I was like, that does that card justice. Like that's it. The colors pop. It looks almost 3D. It's just so cool.
Well, that's almost like common cards for you, Aaron. So you can step it up because you're usually so obscure that's just like, all right, I'll step it up a couple grades.
Yeah. Normally, I'd rather have like 3 cards than 1. So usually I don't buck up on those things, but that's one that just it becomes artwork when you see at least a mid grade.
Absolutely.
Well, as long as so small, you can afford to kind of pop, go a little big for one, right? Because so few cards of his, right? Honestly, which is a shame.
Yeah. And when we get outside the main issues, then all of a sudden everything is a big card because everything else is so tough. So yeah. But good stuff.
So who's up? Am I up? Should I pick someone from mine?
You're up.
Should I leave my obscure guy for last? We'll leave. Maybe. So okay. I think this is a guy who's going to hit everybody's list, and I think most people who are watching this would definitely have him on the list. Kind of lived in the shadows of another player, so it's pretty evident who we're talking about here. 95.9 WAR, 500 home runs, which that's an instant. 500 home runs, 3,000 hits in my world on the offensive side. That's a big deal. 12-time All-Star. I think he finished with a 271 batting average a lifetime, but living in the shadows of another player. But a fabulous player in his own right, Eddie Matthews. This is his 1960 Bowman. This card I have to show, because I don't even know if Matt knows this or remembers. That was a gift from Matt to me. So at the National. So that's his 54. And CGC, is it CGC? CSG. I don't even know what it is. 2.5.
They don't know either.
But I love the actual case of these. They're just crystal clear. That does not look like a 2.5. It's a beautiful card. And actually, I display that one as one of my 54s. 58. Bought this, visited my daughter in Louisville years ago. And then I took out his 59, which was one of my early getting back into the hobby, one of the first vintage cards that I bought. So it's off center. And I don't usually point out the flaws, but it's such a clean looking card. And because it's yellow, it's not that egregious. So I absolutely love it. And centering's I'm not a Dylan guy. Centering is not that important to me. So, but yeah, stats speak for himself. In the vintage world, everybody knows who he is and what he's about. And, I obviously may have gotten a little more pub. If we wanted more details on that, we can always just jump on Pastor Craig's channel. He'll give you lots of details on Eddie Matthews, but fantastic player in his own right and deserving of being on Mount Rushmore, in my opinion.
100%.
Yeah.
All right. So I don't know. We'll go whoever. You want to go, Aaron?
Yeah. Well, I'll go. Sure. I'll see what I can toss in. And actually, one of them I pulled just to revisit. Of course, he made the list. What would be interesting with Eddie Matthews is where we do the Mount Rushmore of third baseman.
Third baseman. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
There's a couple locks. There's maybe 3 locks, but yeah, it becomes an interesting discussion when you really dive in and start looking at stats. But his 53 Bowman is super
beautiful
looking card too. We didn't name it just now, but I think we easily could have. Yeah, some of his are just just the base issue stuff is gorgeous cards. 56 tops. What else should we jump to? Even end of his career. I feel like he retired pretty young. I just did a little bit of a deep dive on him, and he didn't get to play until he was 40. I think he was 36, 37. He was wrapping up his career. So, even at the end of his career, I feel like he still looks like a pretty young man. He's not, I'll show somebody later as an honorable mention that didn't look like a young man even when he was mid-career. So that may give away who that is.
I think we know.
I think I know.
Yeah. Of course, everybody's got the home run derby fake, but it is autographed. So I thought that was a cool way to get the image and get something cool with Eddie Matthews without having to drop home run derby money. So I will absolutely play along with the Eddie Matthews selection. I think that's a good call.
Beautiful. So the $1 million question to Matt is, does he make your list?
Eddie made the list. Funnily enough, I was given obviously JC showed one. I gave a card away to Pastor Craig in Strongsville because I was trying to avoid temptation to start Matthews collecting.
Right.
But that didn't last, unfortunately. So yielded about 5 weeks ago and started. So and I just picked the same thing. I picked up the 53 as well for that one. It's just a nice card, right? So
yeah.
But a couple I know you like the oddballs, Aaron, so I'll show a couple of those. So this is a Topps tattoo from 60. So there's a 60, 64. Then there's also like the 60 OPG. There's even a 60 Venezuela. I've never actually seen any of them. I'm not sure if you have, but I'd love to see one in person, but I haven't seen any yet. I got his 57 Spick and Span as well.
Yeah.
Love these. The dry cleaner in Milwaukee put out some great cards.
Yep.
I don't have the Aaron for this yet, but this one, Patrick Craig has this one as well. The 55 to 60, whatever the range is for the Bill and Bob postcards. Sorry, the glare spare. There we go. That's better.
Yeah.
No,
Again, you see the emblem on the jersey. Just a really cool pose for that one. Let's see. This one I got right when I started. Not even the first one I ordered, I think, was the just when they went to Atlanta, they had some cards, some artwork commission. I think a bunch of teams did this with like the oil companies. Like the Dodgers had a set. A few teams had sets, but like it's the 66 pure oil. But it's really nice because it has all the stats in the back and just really cool bio and stuff. So these are really nice. You can find these really inexpensive. I think it was expensive.
Boy, I find myself falling in the realm of Matt. Like I'm becoming the oversized junior guy. I think Matt's the senior and I'll be the junior. I love
oversized.
I know that's a beautiful piece. That is a beautiful piece.
Here's another one that's pretty nice. This is from the 54 All-Star photo pack. So he's like super young here, right? So this is a great set though. There's a Jackie in here. There's a Mantle in here. So link back again.
Is there a K line in there?
Yeah, there is. Yeah, there is. It's pretty expensive. It's rookie season, right? So
yeah, I thought there was. Yeah, very cool.
And then I got his die cut as well from Spick and Span. And then
those are awesome.
Oh, I thought that was the wrong one. That wasn't the. I apologize. That wasn't the photo pack. That was the Manny's land. I want to get at least one Manny's in there. Yeah, that was the Manny's land from 61. Here's the photo pack one. Sorry, I love the black and white photos or cards, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah,
there's the All-Star one because they have the name in the box down there. That's how you can tell. So that's probably. Let's see if I have another one. I try to pick out. I'll do one more. These are nice. This one's not a nice copy. It's a little miscut, but I like these Topps bucks. I don't know why. I one today. I'd love to be able to have these out. I wish these were cheaper. Like we could buy these ungraded. But it's really cool because they even have the Braves logo on the back. Just little stuff like that. They did details. I really thought that was neat. So.
Yeah, I think Dom, Staven Sports Card, just did a video. He just picked up Frank Robinson. And
they're just, I don't know why. They're just silly, right? But I really like those.
I think they're cool. I like them as well.
Just something different. So, yeah, Eddie Matthews definitely deserves to be on the list. Like, I mean, obviously his career is short, I think, somewhat by some of his proclivities outside of baseball in terms of somewhat of
Right.
mantle. I think he had some similar vices, or let's say.
Correct.
But his first few years, I mean, that's why he was the cover of Sports Illustrated, issue number 1, right? Like he was supposed to be the next big thing, right? So, and
Correct.
he did really well for those first 10 years or so, right? His first 10 years were really good. So after that, age and everything else took a toll on his body. But yeah, Pastor Craig's the channel you want to go to check out if you want to see all the really, really obscure Matthews items, and he has a lot of like autographs and things like that if you're into that as well, right? So definitely check that channel out.
Absolutely. So we're all in agreement. I've shown now 2 off of my list. You've gotten 3 off of your list now, Matt?
Yeah, I think Aaron and I are 3 for 3. So if
You're
we're not
both
4 for 4, we're gonna have a big problem, Aaron. We'll be talking again.
All right.
Yeah.
So I've gotten 2. Should I show? I guess I should show my 3rd, and then we can go to the 4th.
Yeah, we can see if it's honorable mention for us, right? Yeah, if you want.
Yeah. So I think it's going to be an honorable mention. So I changed. I've said it 1,000 times on this show, or on the 3 or 4 that we've done, I should say, not 1,000. I have a lock in my head the minute we pick a topic, and then the minute I start to do the numbers and look at and do the research, I flip, and I flipped on this. My top honorable mention will most likely be everybody's honorable mention then, since you guys have 3. But I went I went a little weird. I guess maybe not. 95.9 WAR, 318 wins, pitcher. 1 ERA title and 5 All-Stars with a 3.35 ERA, lifetime ERA. I went Mr. Niekro. And it was between him and somebody else, and we'll get into that during honorable mentions. But after looking at the numbers and reading up on them, I'm like, I've got to throw him in there. I had to. So I left out Maddux. You guys threw Maddux in. That's our main difference, because I'm assuming our 4th might be the same. And didn't have a ton for him. So I've got the 67 and the 72. But reading, doing a little research, I just rattled off some of the base numbers. I don't go too deep. But after looking at his career, I'm like, golly, how do you not put him in there? And I guess that's the one difference. It was Maddux or him if we were picking for thirds. I should say there's one more. But we'll get to him later. I'm certain of that. So
Niekro had a really good career. I think it was definitely tough. For me, it was the number of years to get to 95. It was 21 years, I think. They were all with the Braves. So I was kind of where I came down at the end was more like a WAR per season with the team. Right. That sounds really silly. That's kind of how I got there, honestly, with Maddux. That's what put him over the head, I guess, for me. But
no, I think that's similar.
Niekro had a great career.
You kind of do the same thing, don't you, Aaron? I mean, if I'm not mistaken.
I wish there was a general rule that made it easy. I think Maddux's peak was, better than any amount of years you could pick. So then it became Niekro just happened to be playing the rest of his years as a Brave versus playing, as with the Cubs and Dodgers like Maddux did.
Right.
Did you have him as an honorable mention? Did you pull anything of his stuff, or?
He definitely would have been. I don't have any cards. So yeah, he was definitely on my list. I definitely, you can tell I'm looking at the stats because he was up there. I know, right, for sure, right. And there's a channel for Niekro out there, right? There's a Phil Niekro collector channel as well to make you guys check out. Like, I think he has the entire run, and he shows a lot of interesting oddball items as well if you're into those. But I don't have any cards of his other than he's on all the team cards I have that they all share, right? But I didn't want to pull one of those.
Right.
I was trying. Yeah, I mean, I have a couple rookies.
Yeah.
Which I might take one to Strongsville and see if somebody wants one. Trying to see what I pulled a lot of what Jason did, because I think you have some of the best looking cards in his. Pulled a 71. I'm thinking about grabbing an O-Peachy at some point just to get something slightly different and get the cool back to it. But yeah, I mean, he was born in what year? 39. This is an 82. So that puts him in his early 40s. And I mean, it looks like he's in an old timers game.
Right.
Like, I mean, he looks 68. Like he's early 40s.
Yes.
Yep. I'm
assuming that's who you were talking about when you said he never looked young, right? I mean,
I mean, by the time he's in his 30s, they're probably giving him senior discounts at restaurants, I would think. So I mean, good on that. But I mean, pulling his stats, he had 1 year, 1979. So I was 2. He had a 7.4 WAR, which led the league in WAR. He led the league in wins with 21, and he led the league in losses with 20. Talk about things that won't happen again.
Right.
When's the next time a pitcher is going to lead the league in wins and losses? Not happening. So,
that's crazy.
That's a one-off. but he led the league in losses 4 times, which I've seen a lot of sports folks say you have to be really pretty damn good to lead the league in losses, because if you're bad, they send you down.
Right. So
Like
you're
they're not
good
going to
enough
give
that
you a
they're gonna.
chance.
Right.
You have to be good enough to send out there to lose.
Yep. Exactly. Unless
So
you're the White
it's
Sox, then everybody just loses, and they. So.
right.
All right, so I
Yeah.
don't feel so bad. He at least made an honorable mention because that was the one where I was like, and then we'll get to who I was weighing because Maddux actually wasn't even a thought in my head. I obviously an honorable mention, but I'm like,
Yeah.
I kind of lumped that whole era with other players that I'm sure we'll get to. So,
Yeah.
but we'll get into that. So I guess I think Matt should go last here,
Yes.
or you. So I'll go because I'm going to be the least overwhelming, or I'll be probably the most underwhelming. I think my fourth guy is pretty obvious. I think it's pretty obvious for all. I'll rattle off some stats, but I'm going to go real base here because you really don't need to. 142.5 WAR, 755 home runs, 3,771 hits with a lifetime average of 305, 25 All-Stars, 2-time batting title, and a World Series and an MVP, as well as a 3-time Gold Glover. Hammer and Hank, right? I mean, this is, most of my stuff is going to be base run stuff. So I'll let you guys. There's a 73, and I'm kind of taking them in order of year. Sorry, I should rattle off the years. This is 73. Here's his 69. One of my favorite cards in this set. I've said it on my channel. 67. I think that's a beautiful card of him. Another one of my favorite cards, not only because he's on it. 68. That's a beautiful card. Him and Mickey. Again, his run is pretty phenomenal. This is again one of my favorite cards. His second year 55.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that card. And then to kind of finish it off with him, you get to double dip a little bit with him and Eddie on cards together. So you got Fence Busters, and then you've got another Fence Busters with him, Eddie, Crandall, and who else is on it? I don't even know.
Adcock.
And Joe Adcock on it. So that's a beautiful card as well. So that's kind of what I grabbed for him. I think I have a couple non-playing days. Oh, I could grab. I don't know if it's handy and available here. Yeah, we're kind of stepping out of bounds here as I'm reaching, but I know it's here. I can grab this, and that's my autograph.
Awesome.
That's my autograph ball and non-playing days card. And I actually got one of the few back in the day when I was occasionally buying autographs and getting them in person. I got it at a show, so I've got the photograph of him signing the ball and all that good stuff. But that was impromptu because I had it sitting right here, so that worked out well. But that's it for me for Hank. You guys dazzle him because I know you guys will. So
no, I'll take care of a few of the basic stuff that a couple odd ones, but let's see what Matt pulled for sure. But I'll knock out a couple. You showed one of those, so the Spahn is interesting. These 1960 Lake to Lakes, the Spahn I actually had purchased the only one that had like the redemption stamp on the back.
Yep.
And it's lost in the mail.
Oh,
So there's one graded by PSA. It's now gone.
Oh,
Never
yeah,
delivered.
I saw that one listed, but I already bought mine. Yeah.
Yeah, I was debating whether or not to, but I was like, well, it's like one of one when it's already like one of 30. I'm like, I'll buck up and I'll get it. And wait, and tracking, and they just said it's lost in the mail. So
That's terrible. Oh my
no
gosh.
longer exists. I know. Yeah, tragic. Which is why some of those cards that have like emotional tie for me, even though there's the odds of it are low, I'm not taking the chance. I'm not going to send them in for grading.
right.
But this one has like that common. A lot of them have the staple marks. This one, whoever stapled it didn't take it off very nicely. They just ripped the darn thing off. But it's still cool to have the Hank. What else? In honor of Mr. Petty, I picked this up at Strongsville from him.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
That was kind of cool. He's walking around and just kind of had a little bag of things. He's like, "Here, what's this? A couple $100, whatever." And he's throwing out a price, and so I tracked him down. I was like, "I'll take that."
Right.
So that's kind of fun. The Hires root beer, obligatory. I'll show my entry level 54 tops rookie card.
So what you have it. That's fantastic. No such thing as entry level with the 54 tops, Aaron.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. It's a tough level to enter. And then I'll show 58s just because I do think that's a great looking card, and you do get the opportunity to get white or yellow. So it's another one. If you collect somebody, I appreciate his last name, and obviously a great player, great man. So I absolutely have to agree, Darren, on the list for sure.
Yeah. And he's got the 57 stats on there with the MVP season, right? So that's cool to get 50.
Yes.
Absolutely.
All right.
All righty, sir. It's your show now.
All right. We'll do a few. I'm going to leave some of the ones you showed off. I want to say I've seen this on your channel, but we'll still show it because I got to show the 54 Johnson cookies.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really like that. That was obviously cool too because that was the year they started doing the jersey numbers. So that's when he wore number 5, which I don't know. I just enjoy that piece of having that card.
Yeah.
I guess we'll do 2 of those. I really like the 55 one with all the bats as well. So this is my it's still one, but it looks fine to me. I had a fiasco where I bought one that was counterfeit, and then it was actually slab counterfeit, but that's okay. So I ended up getting this one. Couple really hard to find, at least for me, hard to find ones. I got lucky. I found this one on ComC and then had them send it off for grading. These came in little keychain inserts. They were like in the vending machines, like the little gum machines. This is a 61. I mean, there are only 3 or 4 of these that are at least graded anyway. Right? You just don't see many of these out there. So show some different stuff. Aaron, you know you love the Venezuelans. We're gonna do a little Venezuelan run here. How about that? So we'll do 64.
Fantastic.
I love the black backs. But the backs are the best, right?
That's a crazy clean Venezuelan. That's crazy clean, Matt.
Yeah, that one's. I'm glad you enjoyed that one because we're about to get some rough ones here. Don't worry.
Well, just have
that one is nice. That's my favorite set. That's why I went out for that one. That one's really tough. So, oh shoot, this one's still in a baggie. Pardon the glare on this one. I haven't shown this one yet, but this is the 67. Nice. Definitely seen better days, Jason, for sure. But and Aaron, but
that is cool.
The back's hardly even existent. But you just don't see this very often, right? So I didn't want to pass up the chance to get one.
No, that's
there's probably what 30 or 40 of those maybe at most.
Total 13 for SGC and PSA. I didn't look at Beckett.
13. Jeez. Okay, forget. Yeah, that's one of the oddest years where some cards there's 50, 60, and other cards there's like 13.
Yeah, because like the Maze, there's like 50 or 60, right? Most of the even the Mantle's 30 or 40, but like for whatever reason, Aaron's super, super tough. And then this one, his All-Star is interesting too. So a couple of things about this one that I like. This is from 68. It's the last Venezuelan card issued. So this is number 380 in the set.
Wow.
And it's the very last Venezuelan card that they had that 10-year run of making cards from 59 to 68.
Yeah.
Very last card issued. So that's kind of one cool thing about it. It's the last one I got. So I finished my Aaron run. I have the entire run. I'll do a video on that at some point here when I do a video. But all the team cards, the base cards, the league leader cards, I finished it. So, but you only have 3 base cards: 64, 67, and 68. Let me see. I pulled some more.
I didn't know that about the 68. That's interesting. It's the last numbered card of the 68 set for Venezuela.
Yeah, which is the last year they made Venezuelan tops. Right.
So, right. That's cool.
Here's the base card from that year. Seen better days too. The back's really rough, but not a ton of these. I don't think there's like maybe 20 or 30 of the Aaron for 68. So
yeah,
at some point you can't be picky on some of these cards, right? Aaron preached that in his channel for a while now, right? So
yeah,
absolutely.
You just got to grab them.
Yeah, you can either have that one or you can have not the card.
Yeah.
So
right.
No gray or no gray, whatever it is, right? So
right.
All right, these. So we're gonna go a little long on Aaron. Hope it's okay with everyone.
No, go ahead.
Bazooka, the first year Bazooka. This is the yellow. So little. They did the yellow and white letters too. I'm not sure if they did it on purpose or
my god
what, but yeah, 2 versions that year. So, and then we'll go to some bigger stuff.
Just so you know, that counts right there. That is bigger stuff for.
Right.
Oh no,
That
that's
is awesome.
awesome. Sorry.
This is what I love about this show. Like, let them run. There's so much cool stuff.
So this is the manual win for him. I just love this photo. I mean, you can tell he's super young there, right? This came out 61, but it was definitely an early career photo. Like the big stuff. Let me see if I can find.
That's cool.
I don't know if I showed. Did I show the leg kick Spahn? I can't remember if I did or not. It's okay.
Yeah.
Here's
Spahn.
Aaron for die cuts.
Oh my gosh.
So that's a
I
fun
feel like I
one.
never see that one. I feel like I've seen Matthews and I've seen Spahn like
Yeah.
out there in in the world, but like
There's
that
like
thing.
there's a dozen of these, but you gotta imagine they're gonna be in the set collectors or the player collectors, right? There's a couple on eBay right now, but they're
I saw the
little
Matthews
high.
at the show at the show I was at this weekend.
I like these. There's like different people that say different things about this. Came from supposedly Baseball Monthly magazine, but then some people say that's not true. It's the M118s, but I don't know. I like the oversized, anything oversized. So
Yeah.
if it's anything else. Oh, there's actually one more I want to show. Mine's in terrible condition, but there's only a couple graded. And I got this at the National. My buddy Dave found this. Preferred Products was like a local clothing company in Milwaukee. And mine's got some serious toning issues you can see on the side, but just a really cool photo of him, I think, right? So sorry the glare is so bad.
No, that's awesome.
He looks so happy. It reminds me like Banks. Banks always smiling, right? There's just a lot of I don't know. He seems super happy.
Was there a Matthews of that? Weren't you talking to Craig at the National about that?
Yeah, there is a Matthews. I have the Spahn. He picked up the Spahn and the Aaron for me, and then gave the Matthews to Craig, of course, right? Because I wasn't doing Matthews yet, so but just not gave it to him. He bought it for him, whatever, right, and had him pay it back.
Right.
Here's the 57 spick and span. I love these spick and span. We'll just do a couple more. I forgot one of my favorite cards. I didn't get it out, and I'm not gonna make y'all wait. So here's the 54 to 56 postcard one.
That's
spick
cool.
And span.
Yeah.
And then you showed the hires. Here's the 60 spick and span. For whatever reason, this set's harder to find than you'd think. Even though it's like not my favorite set from them, but like I guess maybe it's because the last year they did them. I had a hard time finding the Spahn. I finally got one on the way, and then Matthews I'm still working on. But
that is awesome stuff. That is perfect. That is exactly what this show's about. I love it.
So Aaron and I matched 4 out of 4. And I've got honorable mentions to go. So I got a couple of honorable mentions.
Yeah.
Most of mine are pretty straightforward. Well, who wants to kick off an honorable mention since we've got all 4? Who do you have for an honorable mention?
Well, let me pull the pitcher that I think may have had the single greatest season for a Braves, or wasn't yet Braves but would become Braves team. It was the 89 season when he led the league in strikeouts with 284. He had a 2.73 ERA, which led the league, and he also had 49 wins, which led the league. So it's not 1989, it's 1889. John Clarkson.
Wow. Okay.
So Hall of Famer. He has 328 career wins. He only played 5 years for the Boston Beaneaters, which eventually became the Braves. But in those 5 years, I'm trying to see, his WAR in 5 years was 42.6. 1889, his WAR was 16.7. So that's not a bad year. Yeah. He had 72 games started, 73 games he appeared in. He had 68 complete games. So he might have got tired that year.
I will tell you this. I looked up as I was doing my research to do a top 25 list. He was on the list. Obviously, I don't have the card, so I just kind of breezed over him. But I was reading up on him being with the Beaneaters. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. So that is very cool.
Thanks for sharing that. I never even seen that card. That's cool.
Yeah, that is cool. That is
I'll throw that in as a fun one. So
I'll top you with that on my rarity. And believe it or not, I have more of his cards. Did not pull them because they're with sets. This was my lock at 4, and then I flipped it with Niekro, and I only pulled the one card that I have, and it's almost as rare as what you just showed, just so you know. It's the prospect card of Chipper Jones. So he definitely was right on the edge of possibly making my Mount Rushmore, and flipped them at the end. I jotted some stuff down with him. 468 homers, 303 lifetime batting average, 8-time All-Star, 2-time Silver Slugger, with an 85.3 WAR. So very deserving, right on the edge. Fantastic numbers. Niekro just kind of based on WAR and longevity with the team, and maybe that's even a detriment depending on how you look at it. I flipped him at the last minute and went Niekro, but he was probably my 5th, and my 6th would have been probably Greg Maddux, who we've shown already. So But yeah, that's one card. So I figured that'll top your card, Aaron, because this is high dollar stuff we're looking at here. So,
Yeah. I pulled Chipper just to have Chipper in the mix as well. So
yeah, you got to.
Yeah.
All right.
A couple of guys didn't show. I pulled Chipper too.
Yeah.
So this
right.
Bowman rookie, and then back when I had all these other rookie cards, right? And then this one was like, we all wanted this card, but not. So I kind of went and got some cards I wanted when I was a kid. Remember these SP ones? This is a couple of years later, right? But
yep.
That was a great set, the foil cards especially, right? So
well, that's the desirable Jeter, is it not? The SP.
From '93. But that was like his rookie year, I think, though, right? This one was a couple years on. But,
right.
He it was like those other ones were really like pre-rookie cards, right? He didn't really play until '93, I don't think. Chipper, right?
Correct. Correct.
Yeah. Good call.
All right. Well, you could pick someone, Matt. Who do you got? Who's one of your?
So that was one of my honorable mentions. That was probably gonna be 5 for me. This guy was gonna be 6, but again, it's more because I just know the modern players better. So it's borderline, but like he obviously had a really good credit pull stats for him, right? So shame on me for not doing that. But Hall of Fame pitcher, barely squeaked out 300 wins late in his career with the Mets. But I went Tom Glavine. A couple really crappy junk wax era cards. The 88 score and 88 tops, but definitely you can find these in quarter boxes, I'm sure, right?
Yeah.
If you're so inclined, right? He looks so young in this tops card. I mean, I almost feel guilty of picking up the card, right? He's a kid, basically, right? I don't know how old he is in this. I can't read,
so
but like,
what did you have? You had Flair and tops, is that correct?
I had the score and tops. So
right. We'll kind of round it out.
Beautiful orange.
We'll round it out with the Donruss. So there
you go.
He's actually one of many. And
there's Flair.
There we go.
Got it all.
There we go. So that's perfect. Yeah,
there's probably sports flicks out there somewhere, I'm sure, right? But
right.
Yeah.
So I pulled a couple. I didn't go. When you get into this era, I have so much of it, and I've got so much of it in either binders or stored off in boxes. I find that all right, I'm going to grab 1 or 2. Otherwise, that's just heck putting them back. It becomes a mess. So I figured I'd grab a couple. But definitely hit my honorable mentions, as obviously hit yours too as well, Aaron. So I got a few more, but go ahead, Aaron. You pick another one, and
I'll knock out the one that I don't know if you guys leaving them on there, but for me, he's my emotional pick.
I already know who it is.
You know who it is. So I pulled several of his cards. In fact, I pulled 11 rookies. Call it a problem, but yeah, I mean that's very telling of the era, isn't it? When you get 5 slabbed and you get 6 ungraded, and you just keep collecting them. But Dale Murphy, to me, I mean, back-to-back MVPs, basically, player of the 80s. I still struggled with what the Hall of Fame is. Maris and Murphy and some of these guys with multiple Best Player of the Year awards. It's pretty hard to say they don't belong in. And then you get Murphy with some classic baseball card stuff. You get the 89 upper deck.
Yep.
Yeah, you get the reverse negative thing, which was another one of those like dream cards as a kid that as an adult you're like, oh, it's not a big deal. I can do that.
Right.
This one I just tracked down. This is like sneaky tough. 79 Hostess.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I won't go too long on the story, but I went out for a family function. I had like a high bid put on eBay that I thought was like dumb above reasonable. And I logged back in and I was like, lost? What? So I was like, for weeks, I was like in, eBay remorse. And then that thing came up and I was like, all right, let's make this right. But yeah, I mean, even just, I've got a ton of his autograph stuff. I've got relics. I've got some of the newer stuff of his just because I don't know. He's in my Hall of Fame. He's an awful good person. Back-to-back MVPs. He was dominant when I was 10. He was awesome. So he'll always be there.
Yeah. I feel like he's every Braves fan's heart, right? He's the heart pick. I pulled a bunch of honorable mentions, and he is also one that I pulled. This was the era for we're all roughly the same age, so this is the era where we were growing up. So, it was him and Mattingly were the big boys. Yeah. So everybody loved him. You look at the numbers. I'm kind of with you on that, Aaron. It's not like jaw dropping, but you look at the numbers and say, how are guys like him, Maris, and Thurman Munson's another one? Like, how are they just what is the Hall of Fame at that point? So I typically don't get in that debate too often, only because I'm not a huge numbers guy, and when you start looking at it, I would probably be a big Hall guy, and all of these guys would be in at that point in time. I think Harold Baines gets knocked too hard, so but I'm a Sox fan, so it's a little more difficult for me. But yeah, he was another honorable mention that I had as well. So, how about you, Matt? Any more?
I didn't pull anymore. He would have been for me. I don't have any cards, right? So
right.
I did have one other card I did pull. I forgot to show earlier, just to kind of tee us off. And I forgot to show it was that I showed a tattoo early, but there's actually a Milwaukee Braves one from the '60s, the Topps tattoos. So
that's cool.
So they made team cards. So we each grew up with, like, the Sportflix team cards and all those Fleer team cards. And I meant to show that earlier on about the Milwaukee Braves, but yeah.
No, that's awesome. That is very cool. Did you have any other honorable mentions, Aaron?
Niekro we showed. I mean, I pulled two other things. I pulled Smoltz because I feel like he had two amazing careers that were both relatively short. He was an amazing starter, and then he was an amazing reliever. And I guess two other things I'll show just for the heck of it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Oh yeah.
He's not honorable mention for anything except for like greatest athlete. Maybe we enter that into, when you're Deion Sanders. I just thought that was such a cool card. And then one I'll throw at you guys that I don't know if the post office still does this, but currently
stamps. Yeah.
That's very cool.
Did you snag a?
I was not able to. They were mine was sold out. I wasn't able to pull one. I need to find one. They sell on eBay.
Okay. Yeah. I think I snagged one or two of those just to have. So
yeah, no, those are nice.
That's
a good
cool.
image.
Yeah, it's a really neat image. So I figure that's if nothing else, you can send letters later.
Right.
I got it. Yeah. So Greg, Midlife Sports Cards, is sending out his Captain Miller cards or whatever, right? Midlife cards.
Right.
And he put the Hank Aaron stamp on, which I thought was cool.
Really?
Envelope. So
that's very cool.
I got one that's canceled now. I just need to get the book, right? We called them books. I don't know what they call them now. The sheet, I guess, right? But sheet of stamps put away.
Yeah. Good deal.
Yeah.
Good deal.
Yeah, I think that I pulled Smoltz as well. So I think just given I kind of lumped him, Glavine, and Maddux all in the same family. I understand the uptick on Maddux, definitely, but all three of them, fantastic. And I pulled this. I think what happens is you start going through cards, and I'm like, I'm just gonna pull that. They just throw them out there. I got the 67 Joe Torre. I'm like, I'm gonna show that.
Yeah.
That's a cool card. So, just something fun in addition to pull. But so I think we were right on the money minus one pitcher. You guys were identical.
Yeah,
we're identical. So, and I'm the Niekro. I'll get shunned. So I have to be right then, right? And then where I have to be right.
You're the host. You're good.
Yeah, I initially had Niekro on my list for sure, and I had to. That was the only one I had to really think on. It's kind of fun to do these because you start seeing and you look at it, you're like, all right, two or three of them are slam dunk. You're crazy if you don't put them there,
right?
And you get to the last one or two, and you're like, man, this is tougher than I thought.
Is it fair to say with the two of you, because we did do a little talking before we went ahead and recorded this, is it fair to say Kid Nichols would have made your list if you had a card? Would he have made the list?
He'd have been a mention for me. I still would have probably kept my same list. These are the players I know or at least know about more other than looking at stats online, right? So.
Right. And then it becomes that. But doesn't he have like an insane, when I was looking at stats, he's got a ridiculous WAR. It's like 130 or something like that.
It's let's see, 116. I just pulled
116. Okay.
His career record's 362 and 208 with a 296 ERA. And well, honestly, he's monstrous. His WAR in 12 years with Boston, which would be the Braves, was 107.4.
That's insane.
So he averaged
almost nine, right? That's
almost a 9 average for more than a decade. So that's beast mode. Yeah, he was. Yeah.
So I got a little mixed up in our pre-chat before we did this, and we're all on a text together, and Matt was the one who said Do you guys have a kid? Or no, it was you, Aaron, who said
I did. Yeah.
I thought it was Matt. I'm like, oh, Matt's already giving his picks away. And I'm like, no, but I want to go get one now after researching them. I'm like, my goodness, that's some monstrous numbers. I certainly could argue him over Niekro on my list after looking at the numbers. I was like, dang, that's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. Not too bad. Well, in those 12 years with Boston, he had 330 wins. So that's an average of what, 28?
Right.
I mean, that's like, woof.
Yeah, that's pretty insane. So
That's a tough guy to leave off. So yeah, different world, different era. He was definitely getting 450 innings a year, but that's still crazy.
Does that hit your list now, Matt? Does he hit the list of?
I mean, he probably should, right? Maddux is probably just more emotional just because I saw him, right? That's
Exactly.
what it comes down to some extent on some of these, right? Some of these are more emotional than facts driven, right? So that's why these Mount Rushmores are fun to watch, though, right?
You're right. That's what makes them great. That's, nobody's ever wrong, and at the end of every show, all of us are always right. So it's perfect. It works out absolutely perfect.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's tough, and there's no perfect criteria. I think anyone that did a Braves Mount Rushmore and didn't put Hank Aaron on, like, okay, you don't count. Like, that's crazy. There's no way you can do this well without having Hank Aaron on, no matter what you measure it by.
Right.
When you start going into war with team, all right, Niekro wins, peak war, Maddux wins.
Right.
Guys I never heard of war, Kid Nichols wins, but we don't have his card, so we can't use him.
Yeah.
No, that's definitely it. And the one thing that I did, and I didn't want to dig it up. I have several of his cards, and no one even mentioned him. What about Andrew Jones?
Yeah.
And, he's got to be in the, the category of honorable mention, I would think. Obviously not on the top 4, but he's got to be there.
Yeah.
I think in time he's going to be a Hall of Famer. Do you guys agree with that, or do you think no?
I think it may be this year even, right?
Yeah, I think there's a possibility, right?
Yeah. I hope so. I mean, he's another one, Koufax curve. If he would have just quit instead of having those kind of lame duck years at the end where he was probably making money and just wasn't ready for the season kind of thing.
Right.
He was amazing. I think somebody said he has the highest defensive WAR of any outfielder, period.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Is that real? That's crazy. Yeah. Like, that guy should be in.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And that's it. That's an awesome point. I love how you said that, the Koufax curve. That's perfectly said. Right.
Yeah. Look at Smith's in for defense, right? I mean, Ozzie Smith is not in for offensive stats, right?
No, he is
right.
not.
That's why is Jones different.
Right.
Yeah, and he has 400 and some odd home runs.
Yeah.
Right.
So, he's Harmon Killebrew with a few less homers, but amazing defense. So I think you put him in. I don't know.
Yeah, I had to throw the name out there, even though we didn't show cards, only because you'd see it in the chat somewhere or in the comments. How do you leave out Andrew Jones?
Yeah, what's his 95 rookie season, right? 95 Bowman or Bowman Best? I think those were his first cards.
Yes, I believe so. 95 for Andrew Jones? I think so. I think you're correct. So, and I don't have it, to be honest with you. I don't.
Yeah.
I've got some of his,
Yeah, that was a big year because you had Guerrero, Jones, and then Garcia Parra was in that year, I think, too, for Bowman Best or whatever. Or that was a heck of a set.
Yeah. No, that's a good point with him. I think he's worth at least an honorable mention, and that's kind of after him, and after everyone we've talked about, to include Kid Nichols, who I would quite honestly just learned about as we were doing the research. I couldn't think of anyone else that was even, I mean, there's others. I jokingly sent you the Bob Horner. You're like, he was a pretty good player for a couple of years. And,
yeah.
I couldn't whip out an Otis Nixon picture quick enough to when we were joking and sending goofy players out there, Otis Nixon or Ron Gant or something like that.
Yeah. Just throwing Pascual Perez around. Yeah. There's some interesting characters.
Right. No, that's perfect.
No,
so I don't know. Do you guys have anything else to show? You wanted to show anything else? Are you guys good?
I think we're good.
I
definitely have me on.
All right. No, I appreciate you jumping on, Matt. This is awesome. I love doing this. I think Aaron feels the same way, and many more to come. So
yeah.
All right. I tell you what. Well, we'll kind of close it out. So those of you who are watching, I appreciate that. This is going to air a little bit after we're taping it, so I hope you all had a great Thanksgiving. Again, this is a show that we're going to do a running show when we can, and it's the Mount Rushmore channel. You can check it out on Aaron's channel, Value Vintage Cards, or my channel, Everyday Card Collector. And please, all of you, if you haven't by now, you need to subscribe to Matt at The Card Story. If you saw the cards today, that's just a snippet of what he has. So he's got an amazing collection, and you need to check it out, definitely. But I do want to thank the 4 collectors, guys, all of them, for letting us kind of scooch in here and do a show. I think that's awesome. That was really cool of them. And I truly appreciate it. So I guess until next time, we'll talk. Thanks, everybody, for jumping on. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.